Most important position, marquee teams. Like let's get our ratings. Let's get our clicks right now. You want to go Ohio State? You want to go Alabama?
Alabama, because I've got other Alabama notes too. But I mean, that's the quarterback position. My read on this is that there is not a lot of good buzz for our three primary contenders. And the fact that the only name I'm catching coming out of the weekend is Dylan Lonergan, the freshman, who is getting compliments from Nick Saban that Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson and Ty Buckner are not necessarily getting. The fact that that's where we're at in the process, I mean, it almost feels like we're grasping at straws for success. What's your read on what's happening under center at Alabama?
I don't have a great read on this. It seems like the people you talk to are largely towing the company line. They basically say nobody is far ahead, nobody's pulling away, nobody's playing like a superstar. From what I had heard, I talked to some people last night. Milroe made some wow plays in the scrimmage and also some WTF plays in the scrimmage, which kind of fits what he's been. Like the last time we saw him play a full game was that A&M game, and I mean, he had some okay numbers at times, but also if you really dig into it, like half his passing yards were from throws that were actually behind the lines of scrimmage. And yet, as a runner, he is absolutely ridiculous. And I do believe could play another position if he wanted to, not that he has to, at an SEC school and play it at a high level. So from that standpoint, Chip, I really do think he's a special athlete. And I think he shows the high level passing ability at times, and then also probably makes Nick Saban uncomfortable with some of the decisions and turnovers. I've heard that Simpson is not quite as flashy there, but also, that doesn't make quite as many mistakes, at least in that scrimmage. But I know in prior camps and prior practices, he has. And then Tyler Buckner apparently had a much better scrimmage 2 than he did scrimmage 1, from what I had heard. Lonergan, Nick Saban basically shut it down. I watched the YouTube video of him. He basically was like, yeah,
he's good, but he doesn't have
him long term.
Yeah, exactly. And he did have, man, I'm telling you, I'm a sucker for Nick Saban because we think he doesn't say anything, but he says a lot of things that are very true, just actually smart. And he says here, what is experience? Experience is making mistakes. And he needs to make more mistakes, learn from them, get better, say, I'm never going to do that again. Paraphrasing here, of course. But Lonergan shows a lot of talent, but you're right. He was creating buzz, almost as you're just grasping for something good. He was like, yeah, he's good, but he's not going to be the guy right there. At least not this year, we think.
By the way, if I'm a Bama fan, I'm feeling really good about these Lonergan comments because he was a good recruit. He wasn't an amazing recruit. He didn't, he wasn't a dominant as a high schooler or in the Elite 11 setting. For him to be flashing in camp early on is a great sign because they already have a 5-star coming next year. So if Lonergan's good and your 2024 kid's good, then you're starting to feel better about that position long term. Maybe you're getting back, not for this year, maybe for next year and in the coming years, to what you had when you went, Hurts to Mac Bryce. We'll see.
Yeah, a little bit different.
I do think Bama is probably pretty damn talented elsewhere. I mean, they are the highest rated blue chip ratio team of all time. I don't use that to pick games, but I do look at them. It's kind of hard to ignore. Do we really think Saban's going to miss on all these 5-stars that he signed in terms of development? I think they're probably more physical than they were last year. Bama fans are freaking out about the receivers dropping balls, though, again, in the scrimmage. That's 2 scrimmages in a row. It's not what you need if you're trying to break in a new quarterback, man.
Yeah, 2 things on the wide receivers. Number 1, it sounds like scrimmage 2 had less drops than scrimmage 1. It's at least gotten a little bit better. And number 2, how about our boy Malik Benson? Number 1 JUCO in the class is showing up and starting to get some compliments, starting to create a little bit of buzz. If you were showing me the Alabama wide receiver room, I basically would have only invested in Ja'Cory Brooks. I feel like he has put together the most good of that group. And then, whether it's a Kobe Prentice, whether you're looking somewhere else, I was really going to have to see it. I was in big wait and see mode for the rest of that room. Malik Benson's a talented dude, and he was highly sought after for his commitment coming out of junior college. And so the idea that he's going to be playing well, generating a lot of buzz, creating some compliments, so you've got another option besides Brooks that you feel like you can trust. I thought that was a good takeaway from the last couple days out of Tuscaloosa.
I think that's really fair. Now, Ryan Day, what is Ian's comment? Alabama or an all-ACC team? Oh, an all-ACC team would smoke Bama. Now, are we taking like Florida State and Clemson out of it?
Oh, okay. Like the all ACC team would smoke Bama?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
All right.
That would not be a serious consideration.
It's actually, we should, everyone always did the like worst team in the NFL versus best team in college football. And we always, point out the reasons why it's the NFL. All conference teams versus best teams in college football actually would be a little interesting.
Would Bama smoke the all MAC team?
Right. That's like start figuring out where the line is that you would draw.
In prior years, I think the answer, like pre-transfer portal, I think the answer is no. It would be a somewhat competitive game, but like Bama would still win. I think Bama still would win by double digits. In the transfer portal era, the MAC teams are not keeping the high impact guys, at least not the known high impact guys.
Sun Belt all conference versus Bama.
I think any G5 league, Bama's beating their all conference team.
Yeah, Bama
because
Bama
they don't have the NIL to keep guys.
Yeah. Not for this roster. Not the way that you finished last year, because then all of a sudden, guess what? Top 2 wide receivers in the Sun Belt are playing for Power 5 teams now. They're no longer in the Sun Belt. Yeah. Okay. Also, we've got some shuffling along the Alabama offensive line. Not necessarily a permanent thing. They're still working through some stuff, but Bud has told you many, many times, keep your eye on Caden Proctor. Caden Proctor, true freshman, battling for left tackle positions. And one of the things that they're doing as they're trying to work out the offensive line is to take Tyler Booker, move him from the right side at guard over to the left side at guard. And Saban was explaining that, you got somebody that's at least a little bit proven, got a little bit more experience, and he's able to help out with some of the calls. He's able to help out with some of the communication. And that allows for, if you're going to be inexperienced at that left tackle position, at least you've got something solid there at guard. Of course, we know that there's J.C. Latham. Of course, we know the rest of the pieces there, that this is a group that I think can be really physical along the lines of scrimmage. And, I mean, even just height, weight, speed, they've got like a bunch of wins and in matchup disadvantages against the schedule. But they do need to be really solid to be able to win the games that matter. And when you're Alabama, it is that 11th, 12th win, those spots there. So I thought that was an interesting thing and a good sign for your boy Caden Proctor that he might be getting a little help over there at left guard.
There's been a lot of times in college football when you're covering games in person and Bama walks through the tunnel and you're like, that is just different physically. Just seeing them in person at field level, Chip can tell you, he's seen it. Like they just look different. Now, Georgia is now in that category. I don't know that I would put anybody else in that category as far as like 1 to 85. I mean, A&M definitely looks good getting off the bus. Michigan, I think their strength program does a tremendous job. Ohio State's got some dudes like that. But like 1 to 85, I do still think it's Bama and Georgia as far as how freaky they just look walking around. Bama has a ton of beef up front now. I mean, Caden Proctor is like, heavyweight champion of the world size, wrestling, not boxing. And I mean, Ferguson is really kind of a road grader. So if they're this physical on the O-line, I think it creates a relatively high floor for this team. The passing game, to me, will dictate the ceiling, but I think the floor is probably dictated by how well they can run the football.
And listen, one last little note that I have from Alabama, a little frustration with the defensive line consistency. We know that the dudes are there, but damn, I can't avoid this, man. No more compliments for Jaheim Otis. Like the only guy that Nick Saban is going to be out here and say, like, he has had a really good fall camp. These other guys, they're making mistakes. They're
in here.
Doing this.
What team drafted Jaheim Otis with their first pick on the defensive line in the
Oklahoma drill draft?
I don't know. Was it Tom or Danny? I don't know, man.
It was Team BJ.
Telling you.
Yeah.
Team BJ stays winning.
Team BJ coming through in the Oklahoma drill draft. Bud and Jordan. Yeah. Bud said all the way back, because draft season is June. All the way back in June, he was like, dude, Jaheim Otis is going to be a freak. He's too good. And the performance has been in there, has been going there for most of fall camp. Nick Saban can't stop talking about him. Other guys are making mistakes with their stunts and with their assignments, and not Jaheim Otis, who, not in addition to being a physical just specimen, has been putting together the performance to go with it as well. That's a sign for being like an All-American level player. And that's really cool to see it play out.
You know, we kept Jaheim Otis in our top 100 players, you know, and he had put on a lot of bad weight, you know, and I think part of it was because we had seen him when he was in shape, just how damn impactful this guy could be. I mean, we're at Future 50 and he's beating Will Campbell, the kid who started at left tackle for LSU as a true freshman, off the edge in pass rush drills at like probably truthfully 400 pounds. And he's hitting him with spin moves and little speed stuff and little dip rip. Like, okay, like does he need to drop a lot of bad weight? Yeah, he does, or did. Not anymore, I guess. That ain't normal though for somebody who's 400 to do that. Like if you did that at 320, I'd be impressed. If you do that at 400, that's extremely impressive to me. So Jaheim Otis stand for sure.